Oh, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to Where It Wednesdays. It's always a pleasure to have you joining me. If you're here live, let me know that you're here. Drop how are you feeling today in the comments. That's something that I always like to start off my conversations with by doing a wellness check in to see how everyone is doing. We still have a lot going on right now, so I hope that you're doing fine and everyone in your family and your friend circle is doing great as well. If you are looking to take your style and your image in to the next level in a way that's authentic to you, that feels right for you, then you are definitely in the right place. Hey, Cara, thank you very much for joining me. Oh my gosh, it's so great to see you. And let me know how you're feeling today. I always like, as I said, to do these wellness check-in before I tap into any conversation that I'm having, because it's always good to know how we're feeling so that we can have know what tools we need to cope with whatever we're dealing with. So thank you all very much for joining me. If you're watching the replay, thank you very much for coming back. I appreciate you being here as well. If you're new to this space, I'm Salida Roberts. I'm the founder and image at I'm distracted by the comments. I always get distracted by the comments. Like, yay. As I was saying, I'm Salida Roberts. So if you're new to this space, thank you for being here. I'm the founder of Style to Impact. And so today, in preparation for today's conversation, I was like, I'm slowly becoming a podcast junkie and podcasts that has to do with wellness, self-care, mental health. Um, I do a little bit of business, but I try to focus more on wellness, self-care, mental health, just to for my own inspiration and benefit. And so I was listening to On Purpose podcasts. Jay Shetty is the host of that podcast, and he was talking about, he had a guest on. I don't quite remember the name of the guest, but they were talking about questions to ask yourself if you feel like you're stuck in a rut. And so, because we've all felt like we've been stuck in a rut. Life been doing a lot lately, and sometimes we do have that feeling. And a couple of the questions that they were talking about that we should ask ourselves just to understand if we're stuck in a rut and what to do as well is this idea. I'm just going to highlight three of them because it's going to go into what I want to talk about today. And that is the idea that we have to have compassion for ourselves, right? We have to be compassionate for where we are right now and the things that we're experiencing in life. And of course, we have to have a vision as to what we want. What do we see our future looking like? And we have to have that vision. And also, and this is the one that really did resonate with me and really correlates to the conversation that I want to have today, is to not get held back by old things, the old things in life, the old mindset, the old way of doing things, and we feel stuck in our past instead of trying to find a new vision for our future and start putting things in place for what we want our life to look like going forward. And so the idea of when we think about being stuck in a rut, it's not just we're not just we don't feel stuck in just in life, but we feel stuck as well. From my experience as an image coach and personal stylist, that when clients come to me or I hear it on a daily basis, right, in conversations or I see it in the comments, it's like I feel stuck in a rut. I feel stuck in a style rut, and this feeling of being stuck, sometimes what happens is that we, instead of finding a way to one, give ourselves give ourselves grace and to have compassion and create that vision, we stay in that space, we sit in that space. And so while we're moving and doing everything else, not feeling great about ourselves, about the way we're showing up is something that we struggle with a lot. And it's like, how do I get out of this style rut? Like, first of all, why am I in this space, right? And being able to recognize that you're in a style rut and not staying in that space. So I really wanted to talk about, just that feeling that you have, why you're having that feeling, how can you confidently evolve from that that you're in, and knowing that it's a process, right? It's a process, and you don't have to downgrade, or you don't have to remove. Oftentimes when we're feeling stuck, or oftentimes when we're going through a change, we're like, okay, what are all the things can I remove, right? If I'm feeling stuck in my style, then it means there's no room for growth, there's no room for change. It's like, I'm going to reduce, or I'm going to stop doing this. Which, interestingly enough, I was having a conversation with a colleague of mine, and we're talking about style. I'm not going to call her name here, but if she's watching the replay, or she's here live, she'll know exactly that I'm talking about her. And she was talking about how, she did a keynote in speaking engagement, and I helped her with, we worked together in trying to come up with what she's going to wear on the day of her keynote. So she had a couple of options outfit that, I suggested one, but she had a couple of options that she wanted to walk with, because sometimes we all do that, right? We dress according to our mood. And so having a couple of options does actually help. And so in getting dressed and doing the presentation, and just kind of like looking at herself and just kind of reviewing, like going back, like, how do I feel? How did I look? What are some of my thoughts? And so the conclusion that she came up with is that, one, she no longer likes dresses, and she no longer likes the look that she has, right? It's not something that she has anymore. She doesn't feel that it's very neat. It's very old, not old as in stuffy, but very, I think the way that we described it, she described it, is when, as women, when we enter the workforce, and when we started to get uh, work, professional, looking at our professional attire, we were wearing, examples of what we saw was, what a lawyer and what a someone in the financial industry look like. And so that's the type of look that she somewhat has. And so she's realizing, like, that's not me. That's totally not me. I don't like that. And so, we're talking about the idea as to what her style is going to look like. And she's like, you know what? I've decided that since that's not my style anymore, and I prefer to not quite she didn't quite have an understanding as to what she preferred, but it's like, since that's not my style, I'm going to only do speaking engagements in cold weather countries, places where that layer of putting on a jacket and putting on an extra layer on just makes sense, because she likes to wear sleeveless, right, and show her arms and stuff like that. But she's at that place, it's like, oh no, right? And so that's something that we do, is instead of finding ways to get what we want, we try to decrease. It's like, I'm going to subtract, I'm going to remove, instead of stepping into exactly what we want. And sometimes it's not that we don't know what we want. It may be a case where we don't know how to go about doing that. And that is something that most of the clients that I've worked with, and anyone that's thinking about working with me, that's where they're at. It's like, oh, I know my style doesn't suit me anymore. I know I'm stuck right now, but how do I move forward? How do I get out of this style? So that's what we're going to talk about today. It's, first of all, what are those style cycle and stages that you may go through, and being able to identify which part of the cycle you're at, right? And understanding the stage that you're at in life. And so going back to this idea of evolving, this idea of knowing what questions to ask yourself if you feel like you're going through a rut, if you feel stuck, and being able to step out of it. And the idea of, like style, and knowing that style is something that evolves with you, right? And so when we feel stuck, it's not an opportunity to shrink, it's not an opportunity to take away, it's not an opportunity to remove anything from our lives, but it's actually an opportunity to discover, to evolve, to redefine how we want to show up. And so for most of you, let me know if if probably if you identify with any of these stages, let me know like which part of the stage, which stage of the style cycle you're in. Like, say that quickly and then you'll see tongue tied. Stage of the style cycle you're in. Which stage of the style cycle you're in? Like, say that repeatedly, right? That's definitely a tongue tied. And so the first stage is actually to define. But what I'm going to do is start with the last stage of the style cycle, right? Where most of us, as we're evolving, as we're going through different changes in our lives that we're at. And that's where your style feels like it's deteriorating. And when your style is deteriorating, it's not that, oh my gosh, you just move from dressing really well to just going off the spectrum. It's just a matter of you have changed. You've realized that the things that you were wearing before no longer suits you. Your body has changed. Maybe the environment has changed that you are working in. Maybe you were, once in a going to the office 5 days a week, but you're in a hybrid situation now. So you've changed, your lifestyle situation have changed. And so your style hasn't really adopted to where you're at right now. So it feels as though you're in that space where I'm evolving, I'm changing, I'm a different person, but my style is still in that space, right? And so that's the first step, is that you feel as though your style is deteriorating. Your style is actually deteriorated because you have changed. And so it's important to identify, like, first of all, is just to give yourself grace, knowing that the changes that you're going through, it's not to, it doesn't define you, but it's an opportunity for you to rediscover yourself. It's an opportunity for you to reimagine what your life will look like. And so when it comes to your style and you feel as though you're stuck in that rut of not knowing how to dress this new body that you're in, how to dress for, the new work environment that you're in, or how to really tap into the person that you've discovered yourself to be over the last couple of, months or years or whatever the case is to look at that as a fresh opportunity to really say, okay, who do I want to be? Right. And this is where you get to this, the first stage after you know, it's, if we're looking in order, it's like deteriorate, and now you get to define it. It feels like it's deteriorated. It feels like your style is gone into, whack-a-mole. It's not it's not aligning with who you are. But this is your opportunity now to define, first of all, like, who are you? Where are you now in life? Like, what are some of the things that are important to you? How do you want to show up? What are some values that you have that you want to express and have people know more about you, and have that side of you coming out? Because as someone who, like, I worked in banking for over 15 years, and so if you know anything about banking, we had this corporate, very stiff, very corporate navy blue, black and white suit look. Like, you pull your hair in a ponytail, you wear one of the things is like you wear these pearl earrings, and you may wear a pearl necklace, but nothing black. Shoes, very, 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 I call it the invisible wardrobe, because there's nothing in that particular way of dressing that says anything about you, right? And so I had to go through that phase of redefining what my style will look like for the person that I am today, right? The person that I know myself to be. Like, I'm like super introverted, but I like to express myself through my clothing. I think style is a great way to not only make yourself feel great, but also tell your style story, also show up as your full and authentic self, because whatever you wear does say something about you, right? It does speak on your behalf. And so I had to go through that process of really defining who I am, right? Getting a true understanding as to who am I as an individual, not as someone who worked in corporate, not as someone who worked in finance, but really defining who am I, like how do I want to show up? What's important to me? And what do I want to be known for? Right. And so when I started my business, Style to Impact, that is something that I had to go through, that self discovery phase, so that I can step out of the person that I was and who I thought I needed to be and what I needed to wear, because that uniform was given to me, right? I didn't choose to show up to work like that every single day. That was the uniform that was given to me. And so now I'm in a different space where I get to be more of myself. I get to bring more of myself. And so it's not to say if you work in corporate that you can't bring more of yourself, that you shouldn't be more of yourself in that space. I think it's just learning to find, like, understanding what the dress code is and just finding your place in that space and how you can express yourself. And so defining and redefining who you are and how you want to show up is the second stage that you may be in of the style cycle. I don't know why I'm having like a Thai tone over that, like style cycle. I think I have to like repeat that several times, right? So the second stage will be that, defining moment, redefining who you are and how you want to show up. And so the third stage is discovery, right? So you have gone from your style deteriorating and recognizing that your style no longer aligns with who you are. And so you have to define, first of all, who you are, right? I think most persons go from, okay, I'm in a style rut, I'm not going to define who I am, I'm just going to go shopping, or I'm going to go just looking for inspiration and all of that. Like, no, you first have to get a true understanding as to who you are, what you want to be known for, how do you want to show up, and then you discover what your style is, right? So you get to know yourself, and then you get to discover what your style is by developing it. Like, you go through in the discovery phase is to understand, like, okay, what colors do you like, what colors you don't like, what are your style preference, like, do you prefer pants over dresses, do you prefer jumpsuits over maybe skirt suits, like what is your preferred style, what is your preferred cut, do you prefer v-neck over maybe a mid-length dress, like what is your preference, and really getting clear on what those preferences are, because you don't want to buy anything that does not align with who you are, right? And so this is primarily the focus of the work that I do with my clients. Like, really getting, once you have an understanding as to who you are, then I help you to define what your style is, to discover what your style is, to see what are the things that really suit your personality and the environment that you're going into, what colors make you feel great, what colors bring and amplify your personality, right? Because there's one thing to have a really bubbly personality, and then I go into your closet and there's everything black and very dull and dark colors, right? And so you want to have where your personality and you're representing more of yourself in the clothes that you're wearing. And so in that discovery phase, it's also a great way of like looking for inspiration. Like, if once you define and you have a clear understanding as to who you are and how you want to show up, So just to give you an example, for instance, for me, like, yes, I moved from, the financial industry, corporate, wearing that navy blue, black and white uniform, and then moving into an entrepreneurial space where I'm being more creative, where I'm, just being and showing up a lot more like myself in discovering, like, what do I want to wear. First of all, I gravitate more to skirts and dresses than pants, right? Because I can never find pants to fit me. I'm like super petite, but that's another conversation for another time. And so I had to go from, when I'm discovering what my style is like, what do I want my style to look like? I know even though I'm creative, I still want to have that very polished look that feels comfortable for me. I'm very confident when I dress, very polished, very clean. Nothing too, like, I don't like over the top styles, even though I'm creative. My creativity comes out in the colors that I wear, right? So I knew that, okay, one way of me expressing myself and being and tapping into that creative side is to wear colors, but I still appreciate that polish and very neat and clean look, right? And so for you, in that discovery phase, is just finding an inspiration. Once you have defined what that is, like finding an inspiration, like a style, I call them style icons. It can be like someone that you follow on social media, someone that really their style resonate with you. Like they're not dressing trendy, they're not trying to become an influencer or anything, but you can see that at the core, that's who they are. You can go through their social media and get a true understanding as to, okay, this is who this person is, right? And so you really gravitate to their style and it aligns with who you are and how you want to show up. So you look at that person as an inspiration, not to copy what they're wearing, but to see how they're wearing the things that you like and the way they're showing up. So in that discovery phase is really understanding, like, what are some of the things that you like? Who are some, style influencers or style icons that you really like that resonate with how you want to show up? And then, of course, my all-time favorite tool is just going on Pinterest and have fun. You have to have fun with your style. If you're looking at your style as that thing where, oh my gosh, it's work, you'll stay in that first cycle and that first stage, which is to deteriorate. You always feel stuck. You always feel like, okay, your style is not evolving or changing as you're changing. So you have to have fun with it, right? Don't look at it as, oh, it's another job, but look at it as, how can I express myself? Like, once you're clear on who you are, it's like, how can I be more of myself and show more of myself in the clothes that I wear? And so that discovery phase is very important. And that's where I work with my clients. And if that's something that you need help with, like really defining and discovering what your personal style is, then of course I'll be happy to hear from you and of course work with you. And so once you've gone from deteriorating to defining to discovering, no, it's developing, right? The fun part of getting dressed, the fun part of expressing your personality, the fun part of showing up in different spaces, being yourself. I'm very, 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 very much so. Yes, I'm saying it lots and lots of times because it's very important for me, especially as a Black woman and as women of color, that we take more of ourselves into the spaces that we're going into, right? Like we are determining and teaching people not only how to treat us, but we're showing them how to respect us by being ourselves. And I know it's not always easy to, remove that armor and walk into a space and just wearing your natural hair or wearing bold colors or showing up as yourself, because there's always someone that's telling you to shrink or to be less than. But in this developing your style, it's an opportunity for you to really represent more of who you are in the clothes that you wear. Whatever you choose to wear, is knowing that it's a true reflection of who you are. It's a true reflection of how you want to show up in the world. And you have that freedom to express yourself and to feel confident in who you are. So in that developing stage, that's where I like to say, have fun with it. Nothing is going to, especially if you're working on your style for the first time, it's not one and done. It's not just gonna, you define your style, you develop your style, and it's like, okay, yeah, I'm done. It's it's something that evolves with you. It's something that changes with time. And so as you evolve, as you notice, like, how are you changing in life, like the spaces that you're going into, how are you, changing as an individual as well, like things that you no longer like or things that you like, and being able to incorporate those things that you like into your closet and into your personal style is important. So knowing that, style is something that evolves with you, and it takes time. It's not, as I said, it's not something that you build and create today and it's done. It's something that you continuously create over time, and something that you develop over time. And the more you show up for yourself in the things that you're wearing and how you're dressing, the better you get at dressing, right? It's not about following trends, like having to be, in the latest trend, or having to look like you about to go into a photo shoot or going on, be on a magazine cover. It's not about that. It's about you feeling great in what you're wearing. It's about you feeling confident in what you decide your personal style is, and getting dressed for yourself every single day and showing up as a true representation of who you are. So thank you all very much for joining me. I appreciate you being here. If you're here live, thank you for being here. I see you in the comments. I appreciate you being here. If you're watching the replay, thank you very much for coming back. What we were talking about today is the 4 style cycles that we all go through. You're not alone. As you evolve, you will go through these different stages in your style, and that's where your style moves from deteriorating to you getting a chance to defining who you are and how you want to show up, and discovering what your style looks like, the preferred, different colors that you want to add to your closet, and cuts and preferences that you like, to really developing your style to that, to really reflect who you are, so that you are confidently going into the spaces as your authentic self. So let me know in the chat, let me know, like what stage of the style cycle are you in? And then, of course, once you identify what stage you're in, then if you need assistance in getting to the next level, or it's like, okay, what do I do next? Then, of course, you can send me a DM or email me. So I appreciate you all being here. Thank you very much for your support. If we haven't connected as yet, definitely hit that connect button. And looking forward to connecting with you and to continuing this conversation. So thank you all very much for joining. Have a fantastic day. Bye.